Alright, so we got a little Webbot update. Every several days or so, about a week or so it seems, maybe actually a couple times less than that, Cliff High, Webbot owner, mentioned he's going to do these immediacy data reports a lot more frequently than the normal Webbot reports, and it really focuses on the near future rather than the further out future. And he did one on the 28th of last month, and he did another one on the 30th, and then he just did one like yesterday, I think. So I've done a quick summary. It was, again, you don't have to listen to the whole thing because he talks for a while sometimes and goes on about things, which I appreciate, but some people just want the quick nitty gritty. What did he say? And that's it. So first I'm going to start by saying the one before that, which was on the 30th, I never even mentioned to you guys. I listened to it, but I was like, well, I don't know if there's anything really worthy of redoing and putting on my own video. But he did mention then that the Ukraine crisis was absolutely going to get worse. Looked like it was heading towards war. You're going to hear about worse things happening. You're going to see things happening that are leading everyone to believe they're definitely going to war. This is not good. So he said to look out for that. And today is what, the 8th or so? The 8th or 7th. So that's one thing, and that appeared to be spot on. If you've been hearing anything about the Ukraine crisis right now, that was pretty accurate. But that was like the only thing that I really felt like I should have mentioned out of that report at that time. So here's the newest one. It's just a couple things. There's going to be coming a peacekeeping app. I'm assuming when you use the word app, it's for your phone. So a peacekeeping app is coming out, and it's going to say something like, you're within X number of miles of someone being victimized by such and such, or so and so, or police abuse, or whatever it is. So you can go and help them, or show up as a protest with a bunch of other people who happen to have that app, who also happen to show up to basically show the wrongdoers, hey, we know what you're doing here and we're watching. Potentially people can, he didn't get into detail, but I mean, I could see this with for example, was it the Arizona Police Department or whatever it was, under rapid fire right now. They just had a group of people come into the county commissioner meeting, basically shut it down. They want the police chief fired, they want the mayor fired. So now the commissioners are gathering to relinquish some of the power and duties that the mayor has in regards to hiring and firing police chiefs. So I would assume maybe the next step would be they have the power to do it once they take it from the mayor, and then they're going to possibly let the chief of police go. I'm not sure. But that's the kind of thing where a lot of people are required to stop that from happening, when you put that much pressure on these politicians and these elected officials. So what I'm thinking this app is, again, someone's getting brutalized by some corrupt police officer, whatever it is, I don't know. The BLM agents try this crap on someone else, try to take someone else's land. They hit a button on their phone, a bunch of citizens arrive at their house, backup has arrived. That's what I'm assuming he means by this. We have a strong hurricane season coming, he says. Doesn't necessarily mean they have to all hit land or anything, but it's just we're gonna have a strong hurricane season, he says. Strong winds, generally speaking, regarding the weather, period. Two unusual aspects about that, he says, is tornadoes occurring in Europe, and number two is North America small-scale diaspora, or people fleeing to higher grounds, people fleeing away from some natural disaster or events like that, but it says on a small scale. Silver and gold, major opposition by the powers that be to the rise in price of precious metals, which this is a no-brainer. We've already seen what the CME group's trying. We're going to put price controls in, 1% moves only. Okay. Powers that be, they try to do everything that they can to keep prices from rising, which again, you can see that already. Even as they try this, the prices will still go up ultimately. It doesn't matter. Gold is going to be trailing silver, by the way, it says. Silver will be the leader here. This is something I've always told you about. Why I go with silver. Because silver will be the shining star. It is the one that has been suppressed the most. And if you look at history, I've mentioned this many times, and I'm talking thousands of years of history, not a little bit of history. The silver to gold ratio. How many ounces of silver does it take to buy 1 ounce of gold? That ratio has been around 16 to 1. So 16 ounces of silver should buy you 1 ounce of gold. That's what thousands of years of history have said. Every now and then that would get a little bit off from 16 to 1 and go to maybe 20 to 1. That was about it. That's about as much as it would fluctuate. Currently, we're right around 65 to 1 with silver to gold. So if we were to go back down to 20 to 1, what you would see right now is pretty much a tripling, more than tripling, of the price of silver at its current form. Just today, without gold rising a penny, $1,300 gold, you would see silver somewhere in the $60 per ounce neighborhood. But again, they manipulated silver way more than they did gold. So we have a 65 to 1 ratio. While it may seem like this has been going on for a while, in our little minds of several years, as far as the manipulation that we've brought out, when you look at the long-term scheme of things, of thousands of years of history, that's not a long time we're waiting here for this corruption to go away and this manipulation to go away. And you can see how desperate they are when they talk about the CME group who controls the COMEX, the paper markets, coming out saying we think we're going to go ahead and put some price controls in on the price of gold and silver. We don't want it to rise more than 1% per day. That's as much as we're going to allow it if we implement this rule. And like I said before, it took you 40 plus years to figure that one out? No. They've always used the slamming of price to their benefit. So now that they understand their game is nearly over, what can we do? What did J-Step 4 tell you they would do? I told you I never thought I'd see a COMEX default. I said they would change the rules. They will change the game the last minute so they don't have to default. If they changed the rules and said, look, they know they're out of gold, they know they're out of silver, okay everybody, you can no longer demand physical delivery of gold and silver, you can only play the paper game. Or they'll do what they did in the 1980s. We're only accepting sell orders, no buy orders at this moment, so you can't buy any. Right? Well, what did they just do? Now, they haven't implemented it, but they came out and said, we want to, and they have the authority to do it, we want to add price controls in gold and silver. So they just changed the game again, mid-game, so that the prices won't rise, exorbitantly, because they know their game's nearly up, so they just changed the rules. But you can only change the rules so many times and do things to where your little toolbox of goodies, there's nothing left in there. And as I mentioned yesterday, you got a Shanghai exchange, there's a Singapore exchange, I thought there was one in Hong Kong too, can't remember. So they're coming online, they're making us irrelevant. They're not asking the United States permission, should we do this, should we work with you? They don't even care about us, they don't want to work with us, we're old news, they're not even consulting with us, should we do that? No. We're putting up new precious metals exchanges, whether you Americans and your filthy rotten government, the ones that are leading it anyways, care or not. We're doing it, bye-bye. So we can make all these rule changes and new laws, whatever we want to do, and it's not going to matter because the rest of the world's saying, no, we don't want you guys in control of that. We've allowed you to control the price of precious metals for the last 40 years. We look to America because it's your exchanges that set the price. We've seen the manipulation, and we're done with it. some lady waving. Okay, I'll wave back. So that's pretty much it. I mean, Webbot, little Webbot update, but the silver and gold, that's, like I said, I bought some more on Friday. I'm still holding them back a little bit to do my final purchase. And man, I hope the price doesn't move. I hope the price stays around $19, $20. Please. You know, I mean, in theory, I should. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to look at the old bank account on this Friday. If it's looking like I had to pull the trigger, I'm going to pull the trigger. If not, I'll wait some more. You know, if the price isn't moving really, and it's hovering around $20, I don't have, you know, there's not really a hurry for anyone to have to just get it right immediately. The only problem is what happens if some major event takes place and the rule change thing that the CME group wants to implement hasn't been done yet, but some major thing happens across the globe and prices of precious metals, both gold and silver, just jump up significantly. All of a sudden, silver's 25 bucks and gold's 1,400, like that, or 1,500, whatever it is. Just something happens and that takes place. Because I have to tell you, the older Webbot reports, and Cliff has mentioned it recent times too, the data is still coming up showing this. And this is $5 a day moves followed by somewhere near $20 a day moves in silver. So when he gathered that, it was clear we're talking US dollars, not some other currency. So if that's to happen, that can't happen when you have rule limits, right? When you have price controls. If it's price controls 1% and silver's $20 right now, 1% is 20 cents. That's not $20, that's 20 cents. And one other thing about the Webbot is sometimes it does get the decimal place wrong. So $20 could mean $2, but also there's that 20 cents. The issue is it wasn't in one report. It's been in multiple reports, it's been in multiple data runs, and it's $20 a day and $5 a day. And before, or when he first originally said that, we did have silver going up to near 50 bucks, 49 and some change, and then coming down. And when it came down, there were $5 a day moves coming down. And then we had one day that I can remember, one of those days, it actually went up. In a 24-hour period, it actually went more than $5, slightly more than $5. It may have been 6 or 7 bucks, something like that. I remember talking about it at the time. It was the only one time that I saw silver go up, that kind of movement, in a day's time. That was it. And it was right around that window, $30, $35, that kind of thing. When it was jumping back up to the 40s and that sort of thing. So it already happened, and prior to that happening, the Webbot said $5 and $20 days are coming. So it happened right there, and again, per day. It absolutely happened. Now, unfortunately, there were several $5 a day moves going down. Only one of them went up. He's talking about them going up. Number one, if we're at $20 silver right now, you can't have it go down $20 to zero. It's not going to go to zero. It can't. That's like gasoline going to zero. Well, what about the people who have to drill the wells and suck the gas out and all that, right? There's a process. You can't work for free. It's not zero, right? Can't go to zero. Commodities, for the most part, cannot go to zero. Stocks and whatnot can go to zero. So silver and gold not going to zero. And I do believe we're going to see, because of the events coming in the future, that kind of thing, you're going to see wild swings like this. And yes, I do believe and agree that there will be a bubble formed in gold and silver. The prices will go into a bubble, which means they're going to go way high. There'll be a frenzy. That's when the smart people will get out of it. Yes, we will take fiat currency in place of gold and silver, because in this country, that's what we use for our monetary system. You can't go today somewhere and take a piece of gold or silver and say, hey, I need here's my grocery. How much is my grocery bill? Oh, it's $78 for this little bit of stuff I got? Okay. Here's 1/10 of an ounce of gold. They're gonna be like, what? So, anyways, gotta run. Take care.